Hello everyone. I'm Mohammed Reza Armanpour from Texas A&M University, and I want to present to you our paper in Ijcnn 2021 about deep personalized glucose level forecasting using attention-based recurrent neural network. So we first go through the objective, then we give some motivation, then we talk about the challenges that we had, and after a brief introduction about the related work, we go to the method, and then we present the results. So our problem is that we have a time series of blood glucose for different people, especially diabetes people. And we want to be able to predict the future of this time series given the history. To explain why this problem is important, it's mainly because if the blood glucose is for either short term or long term be more than a certain threshold, either low threshold or high threshold, it can damage the body in different ways. And if we know that in advance that that's going to happen, then we can take preventive action by either taking insulin or eating some foods. The complication includes a loss of consciousness or damage to some important organs such as heart or kidney or liver. So to revisit the problem, we want to be able to detect when the blood glucose is gonna be lower than a certain threshold or higher than a certain threshold, or in general, we want to be able to forecast the blood glucose in future given the history. But what are the challenges? One of the main challenges is that the data that we have doesn't have a clear structure. So to show it better, I put a blood glucose time series in the left side, and you can see another time series in the right side. And as you can see, there is not a clear structure in the blood glucose time series compared to the right one. The other challenge that we have is we have different patients, and different patients behave very differently. For example, in here we have in right and left data for patient 1 and patient 2, and as you can see, the one of them shows more quicker changes compared to the other one. The other challenge we have is sometimes we have missing data gaps, so that makes our model to be limited in the usage of the history. Another challenge that we have is long-term dependency that shows within the data set to measure that we use autocorrelation blood. And as you can see, for even 120 times back, we have a significant autocorrelation values that it shows that we need to be able to capture long-term dependencies. Except deep learning, there are 3 other ways to approach this problem, which are autoregressive model, linear dynamical system, and hidden Markov model. But they either cannot handle long-term memory, or they are not flexible in terms of models, or they need a huge set of parameters, so they are not applicable for the case of this problem that we have in the hand. And about the deep learning model, most of the successful methods are based on encoder-decoder-based model that essentially encoder takes the input of the data from t-time step before, and it encodes all of the useful information, and it uses this useful information for future RNNs to predict the time series in the future steps as we design. Now that we go through the challenges, let's talk about our method first very briefly. So we take the advantage of personalized model by using embedding. We capture long-term dependencies using attention. We also make the training more robust by using a more robust loss function, and we utilize engineer type features to further help the method to be able to uh, forecast. We borrow the idea of embeddings from social network analysis, which essentially we uh, uh, transform each individual to one vector. That's two vector. If they are similar to each other, we hope those two behave similarly. In this case, I put the example of job as a similarity to clarify the concept, but what we actually want in this problem of blood glucose, we want people who have similar behavior in terms of uh, time series of blood glucose. We want them to have the similar embedding vectors. We also use attention, as we said before, to capture long-term dependencies, and we use attention combined with encoder-decoder based architecture. So here we have a combined version of personalization using embedding vectors, and we have the attention module that allows the decoder to pay attention with the different stage of the encoder to be able to generate proper result as a desired to. So for further detail, please refer to our paper, but this generally shows our general idea. We also devise a robust loss function that for each batch of the data set, we sort the losses and discard the high temperatures of loss terms in our training. And we found this beneficiary to our experiments. We also devise a robust loss function that for each batch of the data set, we sort the losses and discard the high temperatures of loss terms in our training. And we found this beneficiary to our experiments. And, in this page, we presented our experimental result. We compared with the state-of-the-art method. We also compared with random forest and animal model. And as you can see, in most cases, we got a better result both in terms of absolute percentage error and root mean square error for 15 minute, 30 minute, 45 minute, and 60 minute window interval. And we also did Ablation Study to see the importance of the attention and the personalization using the embedding vector. And it seems consistently over different time windows that these two methods actually help the model to get a better result. And at the last, we presented a forecast scenario. Our method is shown with red blood, and the current method before ours was polysig model. We showed with the blue blood, and the true reality shows the black blood. So as you can see, we can correctly capture the curvature of the time series in the forecasting. So in here, the previous data used as a history, and we had to predict this data at the test time. Thank you so much for watching our paper.